I pledge allegiance to
the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
They'll have to win that.
Roll call.
Mr. DeCarlos?
Here.
Mr. Hoffman?
Here.
Mr. Connick?
Here.
Mr. Molina?
Here.
Mr. Silverston is excused. Mr. Walter?
Here. Approval of meeting minutes for January 12th, 2016. Move to approve. Second. Roll call on approval of minutes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mr. Connick?
Yes.
Mr. Molina?
Yes.
Mr. Walter?
Yes.
Mr. DeCarlo?
Yes. Any amendments to the agenda?
Yes, I'd like to ask for an executive session to discuss personnel. We can do it at the end of legislation.
We need a second. Second. Roll call on adding the executive session.
Mr. Connick?
Yes.
Mr. Molina?
Yes.
Mr. Walter?
Yes.
Mr. DeCarlo?
Yes.
Mr. Walter?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to reports. Mayor is not here this evening. The only thing is, as everyone is aware, the walls are going up quickly. We're into day 6 of the installation, and the pool area is done now on the back and the right side. So it is coming along very quickly. It amazes me on some of the homeowners' Facebook pages that people are still asking what's being built next to Old Town Road.
What's going on?
And other people respond, rec center with question marks, so,
Yeah.
but eventually everyone will know about it.
I got it.
Mr. Carpenter.
I did receive a purchase agreement from Mr. Kegler. Most of the people, I think, have seen that purchase agreement with the 4 amendments. I didn't see that. It's the original was signed in 2012, the original purchase agreement, signed by the trustees of Twinsburg Township, and it had 4 amendments to it. Most of those amendments, the first 3 amendments were to extend the time to close. Then the last one was to add about 2 acres, and then put in some stuff about the additional costs that are going to be coming down the pipe to remove this water vault that is there and this rail line that is there. So just advising you, there's going to be some more costs down the road. The agreements and the amendments, none of them mention the Village of Reminderville nor the JED. So I suggested to Rob Kegler today, who's pretty anxious to get this done because the closing is the 29th of this month. So I told him I didn't really feel as comfortable with an agreement that doesn't at least mention the Village of Reminderville or the JED or both, because we're contributing money, and at the end of this, if it's sold, we would expect some money back, and for these additional future projects, we might incur some costs. So I think we ought to be part of an agreement. So he sent a resolution, a proposed resolution, but I didn't like the resolution that he proposed because it doesn't bind anybody legally. It just says we would approve it, it sets forth our costs, our contributions, and what we would expect to get back as a proportionate share from the proceeds. So I told him I wanted an agreement. So he sent a proposed agreement. I'm going to guess that Mr. Schrader prepared it. I don't know. I was dealing only with Mr. Kegler. I sent a copy of that to Mr. DeCarlo, Mr. Molina, who's had an opportunity to see it, and I asked Stacy to put it on box too, so if anybody got a chance to see the agreement. I would recommend that we approve it in the second meeting, amend the agenda, approve the mayor to sign that agreement, and then get it moving, because it does protect us. My biggest concern was if the land doesn't sell in 20 years or 30 years, the makeup of this council, the makeup of the trustees, the makeup of the JED board probably won't be the same, so they might forget that the Village of Reminderville has something at stake here.
What did you say about the timing of passing the resolution?
I would pass it tonight by...
We want to do the agreement and the resolution.
I would do just the agreement.
Okay.
Just
Pass it by emergency.
a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Twinsburg Township regarding the Samuel Steel, or the purchase of the Samuel Steel property. But we'll do that for the second meeting. you know, we won't amend the agenda tonight for this meeting, but second meeting. And then I would pass it by emergency and suspend the rules. They need this to close by the 29th, which is
Tomorrow, or
2 more days.
Friday.
3 days.
Yeah,
Right.
so they're in a bind and he's in a big hurry to get it done.
It's always in the
Yeah, I know. It's only been happening since 2012.
And then we'll be able to pass the
Then we'll be able to-
resolution then at the
yeah.
first meeting in February.
The resolution, which resolution? The resolution that I provided today?
Yeah.
I don't even think you need that resolution. That resolution was what he wanted me to pass tonight to make us feel warm and fuzzy about the
Okay.
agreement that didn't include us, and I said, no, that doesn't do it.
Because
for
we
me. I
already
want
passed a
to-
resolution
Exactly.
to do it.
Plus, you already put the money
Right.
into the budget, or
Correct.
you approved that
We
money
just
to go into the budget.
Wanted a legal.
Yeah.
Well,
I want a binding written document
Exactly.
that notifies the entire world that the village of Reminderville is expecting
You know,
something.
we could approve the money, but the legal thing, you know, that's, yeah.
Because we're co-owners.
Exactly. That's exactly.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Terry?
California Street, should have been mentioned that we were looking at ways to cut costs on the design of that project. I have not received an update, but I'm told that we're still looking at sending this out to bid at the end of the spring here, so it'll be a summer project for California Street. The NTO Bridge, we have completed the review of the plans that were submitted. There were some minor revisions needed. Most of it, all of the revisions were title page revisions, signature block stuff. So nothing major, so we should receive the revised plans that can be approved, and then we'll move forward with getting the bridge.
Is there a timeline for that?
Like I said, it should be pretty quick, so getting the plans approved should be here in the next couple of weeks, and then it's just a matter of getting work scheduled.
And will there be any road closing?
They were told that they had to keep at least one lane open at all times. They have to have communication with the police department about the closing of one lane and make sure that that was approved in advance. So, and that was all in the review.
Yeah, and Terry, on this plan
Yes.
to repair the bridge is a quasi-experimental method. I'm not asking you to confirm or deny, I already know that. So, this is just background. Now, we have agreed to let them do it rather than, to save them tremendous cost rather than tearing out the bridge and building it to ODOT specs, which should have been done in the first place. Now, we gave them time so that they would not have to turn it in on their errors and omissions insurance. Before they start work, I want absolute assurance that their errors and omissions insurance is in place and that we are named, because I don't want to screw around with this anymore.
Correct. I will verify that.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll be able to give a better timeline once the final plan is
Okay.
reviewed and approved. The Nautilus Trail West project, that is a 2017 project. We're submitting it for funding this summer. Regatta Trail, most of the punch list has been completed. We have an item that needs to be added to it due to a discovery this past week. One of the manhole covers was lifted and caused damage to one of the plows while we were plowing, so obviously that's being added to the punch list.
The damage was in the amount of $1,225.
Correct.
Would you tear up Reminderville?
Liberty Ledges, phases 4, 6, and 7, all have plans on the agenda for a planning commission meeting this Thursday. Phase 4 will be the final plat and plan. Phases 6 and 7 are the preliminary plan and the clearing plan.
While you're still on that, I do want to mention we have an opening on that board if someone wants to serve. We probably this past year met 5 times.
Yes.
So it's not a big commitment, but we do need someone, so if anyone's interested, or if you might know someone who would like to volunteer and then be able to, well, we'll talk about that later, okay.
Concerning that, we had a letter from a resident of Liberty Ledges, I think he was, that was asking if there was gonna be, if Liberty Ledges was gonna be connected to, what's it, Glenwood Greens?
Yes.
I hadn't heard that.
No, there's
It's
no
not,
plan.
Okay,
and I emailed the gentleman back.
Oh, you
a couple
did,
times
okay.
today, yeah.
So, very good.
Senior apartments, they have submitted their revised plans for their sprinkler system. Once they pay the permit fee, we'll be able to issue that, and we'll be able to move forward with installing their sprinkler system. And Glenwood Greens, I'm still waiting on their variance request for the covered front porches, because as the lots are set up now, they would be encroaching the front setback.
I thought you said they were redoing some of their plans, so we wouldn't run into that.
That was Liberty Ledges, that
Oh, that was the,
they revised their plan, so we will not need a variance for that.
okay.
But we don't know if they're even gonna
At this
build
point,
those
they,
front porches, because they're
correct.
not coming to us anyways.
correct.
Okay.
That was everything I had.
Thank you, T.
Welcome.
Service Department, Sam's report is on box. It's pretty lengthy, but it's informative. One thing for the mayor's report that I forgot to mention, that he wanted to thank everyone for coming out to the volunteer appreciation dinner. It was, for those who came, it was a pretty awesome night. Food was excellent. The pretzels were even better. It was a fun night. Thank you, Stacy, for all your hard work in getting all that done.
Yes, very nice, very nice.
All right, rec center, Walt?
As already been mentioned, it's going up very fast right now, it's pretty well enclosed. When we had our construction meeting last Wednesday, they said that they would be done by having it enclosed by the end of this week, and I was sort of doubting, I was a doubting Walt. But surprisingly, it's just about done, and it's only Tuesday, so I think they're accurate on that. The steel order is officially 3 weeks away, but we have indications that the steel will probably be getting here next week or the week after, a little bit early, which will allow us to frame the building, and then it's move on and get the inside done. We still are waiting for some of the renderings. We're told that they will be here by Friday. And that in particular is around the pool area that we're anxious to see.
And when I talked to the mayor today, he said that the pool company is anxious to get in there and start digging too, so. Everybody wants to move fast on this.
And we've made our recommendation as far as 2 finalists for the director's position. I think the mayor is still in the process of evaluating that. I think he's leaning in one particular direction, but he has not made a final decision yet. And maybe Paul, you can help me with this. The mayor will recommend and then we will approve. Is that the normal process?
There is no normal process for this in this village, so, I mean, that's fine. You have a committee that recommended, the finalists to him, right?
Right.
Council will have the final say.
Okay.
I mean, you're gonna be hiring an employee, so that is the rule for that. As far as him making a recommendation, you know, that's what you're doing, that's what you're doing.
Okay, any questions on fitness center?
Thank you, Walt. Fiscal Officer Deborah, she's not here. Tom, do you have anything?
I have nothing from her.
Okay, thank you. Chief Buck?
Couple things, in November, right before Thanksgiving, I met with the Civil Service Commission to finalize the appointment of Steve Pagano, who was the full-timer we hired from our part-time list during the time we didn't have a list or any employees. They need to confirm him and do the proper paperwork to forward to you. I've not heard back from them. They indicated they would do it. They had no problem with it. They were gonna, did they do it? They did.
Yeah, I have the letter, they all signed, it just took them a little bit of time to sign it, but I have it.
Okay, I think that letter needs to come with confirmation from council. Paul, do you know?
Hasn't he already been, hired?
Yeah, I think the thing was, I think it was already passed, but what the civil service said, because the civil service wasn't
There had to be an emergency.
put together.
We hired him on that emergency and he had a 6-month window. Then he had to be reaffirmed when we had a sitting civil service council, I think according to the charter.
That's fine. I'll put together another one.
They basically just wrote up a letter that said that they were okay with, that it went through as an emergency according to the ordinance.
I think they reviewed the charter and wrote it accordingly.
Okay.
So,
And then if we need something,
I'll
prepare.
I'm just
Thank
gonna
you.
prepare it.
Okay.
number 2, the asset forfeiture program, which is the program that the federal government provides for us to fund drug buys. It's our drug fund money is commonly referred to by the council. What it is it's proceeds of crime that we seize from drug dealers and liquidate their assets as well as their cash. It's deemed proceeds of crime. The federal government puts it into an area called the asset forfeiture program. It's mostly state and local law enforcement's proceeds from crime of cases and people they arrest. It's how we in Summit County fund our drug task force and do the matching grants. It's how here in Reminderville we were able to purchase the police department and how we are going to put the addition on it. Having said that, they owed us, the village of Reminderville, about $70,000 for 2015. They owed the Summit County Drug Task Force, which we're a member of, have somebody there. That's what funds our drug cases in Summit County, shuts down more meth labs than anywhere else in the state of Ohio, et cetera, et cetera. If you remember in December, the government had a spending problem to be able to continue the government. In December 19th, they had to appropriate a spending bill to continue to fund the government to operate. There wasn't much said about it, and then the second week of January, we found out that they took the money from the asset forfeiture program from local, state law enforcement officers all over the United States to the tune of about $748 million and appropriated it to that spending bill to continue the government to operate. We lost the $70,000 that was supposed to be coming to us. Summit County, our drug task force, I think lost $1.8 million. In 2016, they reappropriated $430-some million as well, to the tune of $1.2 billion that went to continue to operate the government and was taken from criminal cases that had been adjudicated and the monies were deemed proceeds of crime. So, the reason I bring that up is twofold. One, I believe that our drug crimes are going to go up exponentially because we don't have the resources to continue to fight them and fund the task forces. It's not going to happen right now, but I see it happening by the end of the year. Secondly, and more timely, I have the blueprints for the new police department and the specs here. And I'm going to show them to you tonight, but we are scaling that back because of the $70,000 that we are not getting. We're going to fund, as you all know, the new police department out of the drug fund, but we were kind of counting on that $70,000 to do a lot of the work. So we're going to scale that back. So the drawings that I'm going to show you tonight, some of the windows aren't going to be the same, some of the siding's not going to be the same. The brick that we were going to put a face brick on, we're not going to do that. And thirdly, I have a contract that was prepared by the architect
either Mr. Carpenter or Mr. Esser, I don't know who reviews our advertisement for bids, just to make sure that they're happy with the language and everything in it. He does a lot of government work, I'm sure it's on point, but if there's one or two things you guys want changed, he asked me today at our meeting to present it to whoever reviews those, I don't know, Deborah or whatever, and have a look at the contract, which is gonna be the bidding documents, and see if it's acceptable. That's all I have.
Paul, you'll look at that.
I'll look at the contract, but the bidding documents, that would be something that either Bob Rodig or Gene's office would look at.
It's just a bidding document.
Yeah, they would look at that.
More so the advertisement for bid is all what he was concerned with.
Thank you, Jeff. Any questions for the chief? Chief Plunkett? No report. Thank you. Architectural Board of Review?
The Architectural Board of Review met last night where we approved one fence. And it would have been a quick meeting, except for we filled our vacancy on the board. A young man named Mike Giardino. He joined yesterday to get us back up to full 5. And he's a young man very interested in getting involved in Reminderville. In fact, his ultimate goal is to be sitting here on council, but he thought his best way to get to know everything was to get active on committees. So we've been looking for that, to fill that spot for a while, and I'm glad to report it's full.
Good. Thank you. Planning and zoning, we do have a meeting scheduled for 10 o'clock on Thursday, as Terry covered in his report. Board of Zoning Appeals.
No report?
Finance?
Finance met today at 6:30. In 2016, Finance Committee is kind of changing how we're gonna handle things. We'll get more into it as we go along, but today we concentrated on going through December's bank statement and matching it up with the checks that were written. And we're gonna we'll do that the second meeting of every month, since that's when the bank statements come, and then the first meeting, as of right now, the first meeting of the month, we'll go through the invoices. If the Finance Committee has any questions, and we'll kind of do it the old way for now, but we're looking to make it more of like an audit committee almost, for trying to make the auditors a little more happier, and just making sure we cover our bases and no embezzlement, and just making sure everything's up and up, so. Because that's been a little lax since Linda Baker passed away, so trying to pick up more of that.
You mean we haven't had any investments since the...
We haven't.
Thanks, Tom. Cable?
Very quick.
Communications, tonight on the agenda, we have the legislation for the cap, which is Resolution 9. And Mark communicated with all of us, and yes, that and the new Area 51 contract would go back to agency. Long-term community development, no report. Parks and Recreation.
Parks and Rec met last Wednesday. Two things I'd like to mention. Family Fun Day went real well last year, and the ladies are exploring the idea of stretching it from a 2-hour event to a 3-hour event. And we wanted to get input from the major players, which 2 are sitting right here. And we were wondering if you foresaw any reason that's impractical or not.
I don't know. It's fine with us.
Okay, so if you think of any other reasons, you feel free to get a hold of me, but you're both good with going from 2 to 3?
Sure.
It's not we're just exploring, we didn't want to go any farther until we had your blessing on that. The other thing is that there's a new thing starting up at the Heritage Hall, run by the Twinsburg Library, Story Time, the 4th Friday of every month at 9:30. And I was gonna ask Laura if you wanted to talk a little bit more about it. I know the first one coming up real soon, they're actually gonna read the stories in Russian.
Yeah, the Twinsburg Library has been working on an outreach program both in Twinsburg Township and Reminderville, because the library encompasses all three of those communities. Most people think of it as just the Twinsburg Library, so we'll be offering a story hour here for anyone who wants to come, but hopefully they're gonna reach out to the Twinsburg, or the Reminderville people. They do a Russian story hour in the Twinsburg Library, and a lot of those moms who come are actually Reminderville residents, so they're hoping that that will be a big draw. That all of the story hours won't be Russian, they'll be just regular story hours, but they're hoping that that will encourage those moms to come the first time until the word gets out. And we've put it on, Caitlin put it on Facebook pages within Reminderville, and the library has been advertising it as well. So hopefully it will continue to grow. It's a family story hour, which means it's for caregivers and children, and that's why Heritage Hall seemed to be the place to do it. It gives us a little more room. The kids will be sitting on the floor doing their thing, but the caregivers then can, will stay there. I don't know about parking. I'm assuming they can park across the street in your parking lot.
In the gravel,
In the gravel area, and, the few places that are right there. But hopefully it will continue to grow, and it's really a wonderful opportunity for Reminderville to be able to host that story hour once a month. And the librarian who will be doing it is Joanne Sulati, who is a longtime Aurora Shores resident and a longtime employee of the Twinsburg Library. So, and she was the story hour lady for years. So she does a very wonderful program. And as I say, it's a great opportunity for Reminderville. So I hope it goes well. And if you know of any young families in your perusals of needy people, you can encourage them, to maybe come to those things, because it is a wonderful program. So thanks.
Thank you very much. That's it. Thank you.
Mark, I'm sorry, I have a question. For the dates for the events for the year, the Family Fun Day is on the 3rd Saturday, and I'd have to pull the minutes, but I thought you guys talked about last year changing that because of Aurora Shores garage sales that are held up.
We thought about it, but
Just keep it as is?
we're staying as is.
Okay, and then the toy delivery, Chad wanted to move it to a Saturday.
I saw that email.
So it'll just be changed to December 5th. And we have plenty of time for it, but just so I can put all the dates on the website.
Yeah, I saw that.
You're talking the drop-off, right?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, isn't there always
It's
a
third
Saturday?
Saturday, it's third Saturday in June.
Yes.
Mr. Mullin, I've got one more thing, actually two more things. Terry, I talked with Gene some time ago, and they were gonna work on a plan for the Georgia extension, which is the road that's gonna come down and tie into the addition.
Okay.
And, I haven't heard anything back from him, but I'm gonna need to coordinate that, or have some idea on elevations for the two to meet up, so that the one's not lower or higher than the other. And the other thing about the police department, I've got blueprints tonight, I'll let everybody look at them afterwards. Certainly, if anybody thinks we shouldn't do this, or they don't like the way it looks, or they want something differently, speak up now, because we're not at a point of no return. We just have the drawings done, we haven't advertised or anything.
Thank you, Jeff. Records
No.
and Jed.
No report.
We're going to legislation, ordinance 4/2016, and emergency ordinance to make appropriation adjustments for the 2016 village budget, first reading, and that does not need to go by emergency. Resolution 71/2015, a resolution to authorize and direct the mayor to execute, enter into, and renew the managed hardware agreement and managed services agreement with Area 51 Consulting for the rental of computer hardware, peripherals, and accessories and comprehensive support services, therefore third reading. This, when we go to pass it, we have to remember not to do a second on it, because this is the one we want to fail. Resolution 8/2016. A resolution authorizing a $100 donation to the Twinsburg Vocal Music Boosters, first reading. Resolution 9/2016, a resolution to authorize and direct the mayor to execute and enter into an agreement with Purple Forge Corporation providing and supporting mobile application software, APP, for the village of Reminderville, first reading. Resolution 10/2016, a resolution to authorize and direct the mayor to execute, enter into, and/or renew the managed services agreement with Managed Services, Inc., DBA Area 51 Data Solutions, for comprehensive information technology management and support services, first reading. Resolution 11/2016, a resolution authorizing and directing the mayor to enter into and execute an agreement with Kevin Hudick for web hosting, web support, and email support for Reminderville.com and RemindervillePolice.com for a sum not to exceed $1,920 commencing February 1st, 2016, and terminating January 31st, 2017.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn into executive session to discuss personnel.
Roll call?
Mr. Molina,
Yes.
Mr. Walter,
Yeah.
Mr. Stella,
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
Mr. Condit.
Yes.
Did you need something today? No.
It's going.
You're one of the few people who saw a lane line, I wanted to just call this back.
I'd like to make a motion to reconvene from executive session.
Second. Roll call?
Mr. Walter,
Yes.
Mr. DeCarlo,
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
Mr. Condit,
Yes.
Mr. Molina.
Yes. Old business. I have a few things I'd like to go over. The A&S animal control contract that we passed at the end of which one? That we passed at the end of last year at $350 per month. Currently, we are paying Glen Marsh $200 a month plus 14% OPERS. So we're looking at around $230 a month. And there's some overlapping services. It would be, I have two recommendations, and the one I need Chief Buck's opinion on. But if we can keep Glen Marsh and pull the nuisance trapping out of the contract and get that price lowered enough that we could have both, or we just go with A&S, terminate the old contract with Glen, because we don't get that many trappings a year, and right now the resident isn't paying anything when Glen comes out to trap, but there would be a charge to the resident if A&S has to come out. Jeff, we're talking about the A&S animal control contract. You're pretty familiar with it, correct?
I'm familiar with the company, yes.
Okay. You know how we're currently paying Glen Marsh?
I don't, no.
Okay, we're paying him $200 plus his benefits, so around $230 a month.
We don't use him, I don't have any idea about any of that.
You don't use him for anything. All you use him for is wild dogs, wild cats.
We have never called Glen Marsh.
Trapping, people who want trappings that normally call up here and we get a hold of them.
What do you use, what would you use A&S for?
Are we talking about Glen Marsh or A&S?
Now, let's talk about A&S.
We would use them for the dogs, any dogs that we would need to take in.
Okay,
I think they do cats as well. We've had
yeah.
occasion for cats in the past. They're not as easy to catch, of course, but.
Now, majority of the time when you guys bring a dog up to the station, the majority of the homeowners claim that animal
We don't bring a dog to the station
anymore?
No.
You used to though, correct?
10, 15 years ago, maybe. We used the guy in Twinsburg that has since retired. We used their kennel, and we had an agreement with them where they would bill us. He had some health problems and retired. Twinsburg went to A&S. A&S is who Sagamore and Solon and all the communities around here use, so we followed suit with them.
You know, though, I have to say this, Glen Marsh, I like having a guy who's contemporaneous with Davy Crockett and Daniel Boone. There's something to be said for that. Hey, Glenn Marshall whip that gun out and shoot that squirrel right out of your basement.
He did.
Or attic. Okay, I would recommend that we quit using, Glenn and keep it under one contract.
I think that would be easiest.
Hold on one second. The residents are not gonna be able to call A&S for an animal removal. Their contract's with us.
So,
If it's not generated through the police department, A&S isn't gonna come out. If somebody calls on Clipper Cove, I don't think A&S is gonna respond under our contract to them. Now, they'll respond as their individual, they have a business that does that, but they're gonna charge the resident.
So a person who calls up the police department and says, I've got a raccoon in my basement, you would say, call this number?
I don't know what I'd say, it's gonna depend on the situation, but if they call the raccoon in the basement and we generate the call to A&S, then A&S is gonna bill the village. So the question would be to you, as a council, do you wanna be paying for the raccoon and squirrel removal from people's houses, or do you want them to pay for it?
That's what's on the contract, by the way, that the only people they contact, that the residents are to contact the police and the police are to contact them.
You talking about
Say that again.
A&S?
Yeah, for A&S. In the contract, it says that anybody who needs a tracking is to call the police and then the police are to call them.
Now, but A&S will come out privately,
and build the
correct,
homeowner.
correct. That's a decision for council to make.
And right now, residents would call the village hall, and you would contact Marsh.
I would give them Glenn's number, they would call Glenn, hook it up however they want to, and he gets paid every month, so we wouldn't.
By us to,
Correct.
by us.
So we wouldn't see how many, I mean, normally it's spring and summer, we haven't had a call in a while.
Right. So residents aren't paying for it now, is kind of what I was getting at.
We had a squirrel in our basement, this was a number of years ago, we had a squirrel in our basement, they just came in, well, I called to the village hall, and he came out and took care of business.
Tom, tell him I'm not kidding.
No, he put a 22 right between the eyes.
Eric?
I will say that at one point, I know that we sent the number for Glenn out over the news flash, and we may have had it on the website. It seems like we received quite a few more calls to Village Hall prior to making his number public. I would say that when I first started, I think we received at least 2 or 3 calls a month, whereas now it's.
You think people are
once every
calling
couple
him,
months.
you think people are calling him directly?
I don't know,
I
I
think
have
it's
to
very
take his
possible.
number off the website, cause he came in here and yelled at me.
Because so many
I was
people
not to
call.
make it public.
Really?
Yes, but I was allowed to give out the number if they called me
Because
first.
he doesn't get paid when he
No, I
makes
mean,
calls?
No, he gets paid every month whether he gets a phone call or not.
Oh, so if he gets 50 phone calls, he gets the same amount of money as he
Same amount
gets-
of money.
Okay, so that's why he wanted it on.
He just didn't want a bunch of people calling and going, you know, I have birds in my trees.
Right.
Like there were only certain animals he would go and trap.
Does he have a contract with us, provide insurance, work comp, all that kind of stuff to you guys?
He gets opers.
No, no.
No, does he
Is
have
he-
a-
Oh.
Is he like bonded, is he insured,
Oh,
and all that kind of stuff? Doubt
Well, we're paying Glenn 200, we're paying A&S 350 a month, and we've got overlapping services. And there's a lot more involved with A&S than with what Glenn does. So I just need to know, are we gonna terminate Glenn, or do you guys wanna
Who's that?
A&S.
mull this over to
Oh, yeah.
the February meeting?
Oh, yeah, it's gonna be way more.
I
No.
don't know.
A&S charges per, that's just their retainer. They charge for the animal as well, depending on what it is or what the service they provide is. It's not an all-inclusive,
No, it's, and I've got it, I mean, like on
it's an à la carte
item per
menu.
month, number of regular calls included in proposal, 12 per month, excess calls $20 per call.
Okay.
No, so you get 12.
Can we get a quote from A&S excluding what Marsh does, the nuisance animals?
Sure, I can ask them.
Why don't we start there?
I'm pretty sure though the contract addresses that all that's in the contract is just the cats and dogs, and anything else is over and above that.
No, there's
There's a nuisance.
There's
and-
nuisance,
Okay.
Yeah, it's in here, Jeff. Nuisance trapping Monday through Friday excluding holidays only with approval from an officer in charge. Outside living spaces rate is $125 per trap per business week.
Oh, so right there, you have the cost.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, if we could pull
Pull that out.
the nuisance portion of this contract out, have them give us a new price just to do the cats and dogs. And then we continue to let Glenn do the nuisance trapping, because then it's not costing our residents anything.
And it's a lot cheaper.
Yeah, and if A&S can lower their price,
Did we not already execute a contract with them for 12 months?
yes.
Which ends when?
Probably December of
Oh,
next
yeah,
year.
just recently,
Yeah, we just did
we
it.
just did this like last month or something.
Did we? The only thing I'm concerned about is just to make sure, because you run into situations where you suddenly have a raccoon in your backyard that's rabid, with kids around. And I don't know, what do we do now? The police department just comes and
What's it down?
puts it down? So really, it has nothing to do with setting up a service for that. You just take care of that yourself.
In that situation, yes.
Charge per bullet.
I like Glenn, he doesn't charge the residents, they're gonna get charged under the new contract, but we can go with this and see what happens, and
Do we at least ask them? I know we already did a contract, but does it hurt to ask them, or do you think that's just making us look stupid? Be honest. Be.
I'd like to at least know what kind of deal he's going to give our residents if they call up and say, I do have a squirrel in my basement. Can we set some kind of standard?
But they can't call them directly. Well, I mean, they could.
Yeah, they can, they have that service, and there's a lot of other services out there that come into your home and.
yeah.
Right, they can call anybody, really.
Yeah. Mhm. There's a lot of businesses out there that make money on that.
Alright, well, we don't have to cancel Glenn tonight, so bring it up under old business next meeting.
Okay.
If you have any additional
Is that
questions.
number available to see how many citizens a month for that $200 Glenn helps out?
Is the what available?
Can't he provide some very
I
good
mean,
records of
how
how many
many-
calls, he makes a call summary each
How many
month?
calls
Can
he
you
makes a
check
month?
with him to see if he keeps track of that?
Okay.
Thank you, Stacy.
Somehow I doubt he has to go up for you.
I'm sure.
Pile of papers on the floor of his car.
You know, when I was a little kid, my dad would take me to Scotty's barber shop. And there were a lot of old guys in Scotty's barber shop. And I'd get my hair cut and I'd listen to these old guys talk and they'd smoke these RG done cigars. And then, if I was really on the ball that day, my dad would feed me around the corner into the pool hall. And there were a lot of old guys in the pool hall. And I was exposed to Americana. And that was important. And somebody like Glenn Marsh, with his attitudes and his dress and his job, and this is important. The kids today don't understand about many, many things. One of them is plumbing, one of them is trapping, one of them is animal control, one of them is police work, one of them is fireworks. And this is not video game stuff. This is the way the world clicks around, and I think that's important. Of course, that's just my opinion, and I'm old. So, what could I say?
Thank you. Okay, last thing I have for old business is, we discussed last meeting, Amy Scott was here about wanting her, medical bills and wages picked up. We all know what our legal responsibility is. Any insight on what you guys wanna do?
I'm in favor of saying no.
I kind of agree. I mean, we're gonna have everybody that trips in the park.
Well, there might be some cases where there is liability
Well,
attached to that, but
understood.
this is a case that's beyond the statute of limitations, and it is the sovereign immunity defense does apply here, so I don't think she has a valid claim on either one of those defenses, so. You know, she's asking for something that if she filed suit in court, I don't think she'd get anything. Our insurance company doesn't think she'd get anything.
Insurance companies don't think anybody should be anything.
I understand. They paid on behalf of, for triple fault cases.
I don't wanna set the precedent for one thing. Second thing is when you look at the bill, there's some gray areas as to whether or not we would have any financial responsibility, even if you stretch it to the limit.
I agree.
And how you're going to break that down, I don't know, so I think we should deny it.
So, Mrs. Carpenter, if you can get a
Yeah.
letter out to her, please, I would appreciate it, so would all of council. Okay, any other old business? New business?
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Roll call on adjournment?
Mr. DeCarlo?
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mr. Condit?
Yes.
Mr. Molina,
Yes.
Mr. Walter?
Yes.
Go right into council.